Hey Aries, this is Perrymoretarot's daily reading for October 20th, 2025. This is for Aries. Last shuffle coming out for Aries. So Aries. What we got is the taking steps, and we've got the sacred temple, and this is an intention, a spiritual intention of trying to be in the right place at the right time. So it's very important right now that you realize that this situation will improve. Okay, it will improve simply because you know more. You're stronger. You're better. You're smarter now, right? You got to just understand. I think you're hit like over life, through life. We have seen that situations that used to be really daunting as a child or as a young adult would we would assume the worst. Okay, we would assume the worst. This is kind of saying we would assume the worst, that we got to try again, right? She has three lotuses in the water, and it's like, okay, I assume that I'm going to end up having to restart everything or start over, or that it's not going to work. My first efforts aren't going to be rewarded. I have to keep trying and trying, and Seven of Wands would tell me that we have to keep fighting, right? And when we're young, that's what we think, right? We think, well, most of the time you think that things are going to work out, right? Until you get that rude awakening that it takes a lot more effort for something to work. But they're showing here that you know that things always happen the way it should be. Justice. Everything always happens the way it should be. Therefore, you should never overextend yourself. There's something here about understanding that part of life, right? That you live in the paradise of your own creation, not anyone else's, not what anyone else thinks we should do, not what our expectations were based on our environment, based on our upbringing, right? But based on the fact that, like, what's good for you, not necessarily, you know, what's good by society standards. I see the Akashic Library being opened to you, which is basically higher self awareness. I feel like you have a better understanding of your old motives and new purposes at this point, right? The old motives, right? What I used to want was based on a certain level of expectation. And that expectation may have been, mm, we have borrowed the expectations of others mixed with expectations of our own imagination, and not realizing, how, like, you say, oh, I want to be rich by any means necessary, or I want to be a certain way by any means necessary, not realizing that maybe you are a lot more comfortable with just being at a certain space, right? um, I feel that your intuition is heightened, and mm, I feel like you need to just use a little bit more conscious effort. The situation will improve. The conscious